Okay, so that's the important part about recording. Is I think it might not mic, but
There is somebody.
oh yeah, let's yeah, all these people.
I have no.
We're hearing all of their conversations. That's me.
Let's do all right here.
Where?
Right there. And then
Okay.
except you will never be.
You want to send them a quick little welcome?
Yeah. Hi guys. No microphone. Okay. All right.
And then screen capture, you have to specify which one. Screen.
What is recorded?
I guess the mic's on the floor. So yeah, once you start.
Ready? I'm good. When can they start to hear me?
I think it's already working.
They can hear me?
Yeah.
And for him to get to the page where he has his presentation. Just I need you to stay just for a few moments. Let's get to the page first. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and get a welcome to him. Go over some ground rules. We want to go to the page, Ismail, where we have where the participants can see the agenda. Okay. Okay, so I want them to see, go inside where the agenda is. I want them to see that. Okay. Why does it say start the meeting if it's already started?
Can we open up our stuff first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Make him look really good job.
Can open a tab here like that.
Ismail, do we need to mute it so we don't hear it?
You can.
Right here?
Yeah, yes. That's
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is Scott Godley, the director of P16 here at Houston Community College. As you can see, we are getting our presentations together, but I want to thank you all for attending. We are still obviously a little early, so we're giving folks some time to get logged in, but this is our first go at it, so hopefully this will be a very positive experience for everybody. We again will be starting here at 3:45, which is about 10 minutes. We will have questions at the end of each session. And we do encourage you, what we want to try to do is to mute your microphones, just so we don't have any feed coming through as the presentations are going on, but more so revert to having questions typed in. And we will have a team here who will help to keep track of some of those questions so that we can make sure everybody has these issues addressed at the end of each session. Please feel free, if you can, just to type into the chat confirming that you are hearing what is being said. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Athena Walker. I'm the P16 Director at Southwest College. Just want to let you know that we will get started shortly. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. This is Scott Godley, the Director of P16. We again want to welcome you. This is our first go at a GoTo Meeting professional development by our team, so we're really excited and really hope that you all find this to be a very beneficial experience. We do want to let you know that we are recording this session so that it can be accessed at a later date and time. We do think that a lot of the information shared today will be not only beneficial to you, the instructor, but also to your students. And so before we go any further, we do want to let you know we are going to start with Deborah Hardwick, who will be talking about our Ask Online resources that can be a great benefit from a tutoring standpoint for your students. We will transition into the library resources at that point, and then we will conclude with a best practices related to utilizing the Eagle Online resource that we have, developing an online course for your class. Our goal will be to have everything wrapped up before 5 o'clock, so we know how busy everybody is. So without further ado, and before I go any further, I do want to mention again that we will take questions at the end of each session. We prefer to have everything typed in because we do have a lot of participants. The best way to communicate with us will be via chat, and we'll try to keep up with those questions at that time. So without further ado, I want to pass it over to Ms. Hardwick.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome to Ask Online, everything you need to know about online tutoring for your dual credit students here at HCC. We offer tutoring online in all of the academic areas as well as an other category, which gives us kind of everything you could possibly imagine. Any student who has an HCC student ID number, that W number, can use the system. The tutoring is available for students for our HCC classes, not for other non-HCC classes that they're taking. Getting into the system is easy. Starting from the HCC homepage, students are going to go into the information for, I don't hover very well, for students. Well, darn it. Okay, we're going to try this one. There we go. And then down toward the bottom of the page under T for tutoring, isn't that nice the way that works out? Here we have hcc.askonline.net. Okay, students are going to log in using their W number and the password that's associated with that number. Before your students start using the system, I suggest that you take a few minutes and log into this video. It's an 8-minute video that tells you everything that you need to know about using the system. Encourage your students to use it. And if you know how to use it, it makes it work much better. Now up here, students are going to use their W number and their password. I'm going to give you the special secret guest password and user ID so that you can show them what they need to do. You can use the user ID peanut and the password butter. It makes it easy to remember, and log in. Once you or your students are in the system, you're going to notice a number of things. The first thing we have up here is this bright red and yellow button that would tell a student that the last paper or math problem or physics question he submitted is ready to be downloaded. Okay? Okay, the subjects page takes students to where they need to be in order to get help. Ask is where we ask and answer questions. Okay, there's information here that explains specifics for that subject area. Then they can go ahead and ask us a question. Oh, the meeting is full. Cool. Okay. Message subject here is going to be perhaps comparison contrast essay. Down here, it's going to be the course number, English 1301, your name, and again, very briefly, research, whatever the student is supposed to do. In this box, the student should be giving us a very brief, slightly larger overview of what the assignment is. Look at 2 characters in Othello, for example. Okay. We also want them to tell us what they specifically need help with. So if they want help with developing a good thesis, if they know that they have problems with fragments, that's the kind of information that goes here. Then they're going to browse and pick up the paper, attach it just as they would in an email, and send that to us. I'm going to just put gibberish in here so you can see how it works. Okay, once they submit the message, they get the chance to think about it and make sure that it's correct. Now, clearly I have spelling issues here, but we're going to pretend that that really does say something. Then they'll submit, and they get a message telling them that their question has been submitted. That's how they know that it's there. Okay? Once the student has uploaded the paper, then they need to wait. Now, what they can do through my account is set up an alert so they can get either an email ping or a phone ping when the tutor has finished working on their paper. Otherwise, they just have to keep checking in periodically and waiting for it. We run asynchronously. That is, we don't work in real time. We take a different approach to tutoring. We look at the work, we look at it twice, we go back, we do some research, we maybe do some plagiarism checking. So it takes time to do things the way that we do it. We also, excuse me, we'll check that work against other students from your class, for example, to see if Johnny forgot to submit an assignment to us, maybe Mary did, and we can find out exactly what they're supposed to be doing. If students don't submit information about assignments to us, then we just take our best shot and try and come close, but recognize that that kind of information is going to be more generic. Okay? Again, coming back in here to subjects, you'll see that we also have FAQs. Now, these FAQs are handouts and materials that my tutoring staff has written for students. Managing time and energy, everything you need to know about the writing process. We have a really, really wonderful one on academic integrity, standards of academic writing. Students can download these. Please feel free to steal them as well. You can print them off, give them to your students. We're perfectly okay with that. Okay, we also have resources, which are websites that we have checked. So we know that these are truly academic type web sources. They're not porn sites. They're not paper mills. They're really good places that you can send your students with confidence. Okay, when students get papers back, they're going to be marked. We don't edit, we don't write, we don't tell them what they need to write. We give them direction on how to make their own work better. We don't indicate every single error. We'll show them error patterns and then teach them how to find and fix more similar problems as they go along. It generally takes 18 to 24 hours to get work back from us. When we're really crazy busy, it may go up to 2 days. We don't like it when that happens, but there are times when we're getting 150 to 200 papers a day coming in. Okay, you'll notice here that we also offer tutoring in a lot of different areas, all of the various Englishes. We also offer math, physics, chemistry, and then as well as a lot of the social sciences. So if, for example, a student is submitting a paper into, say, history, it's going to be looked at not only by an English tutor for grammar, structure, and organization, but also by a history tutor for historiosity, for accuracy, for conventions within the discipline, for the type of resources that they're using. And so students are going to get 2 responses. Then what we hope, anyway, is that they'll take those 2 responses, combine the information from the 2 tutors, both of whom will also look for plagiarism, I might add, and then revise the essay. They can submit that revised essay. And so they can get a whole lot of help before they actually get to you. But you need to understand that we're not telling them what to write or how to write it. We're guiding them along. We've been doing this at HCC since 2006, so we've got 9 years in now. We have helped way over 120,000 papers and submissions that we've done. We've got about 65 tutors who work for us from all across the system. These are all faculty and faculty level tutors. We don't use student tutors. And we think it's a fantastic system. We get great response from students. They like the anonymity. They like the convenience. They can submit 24/7. They can sit at home in their pajamas and submit papers to us and not have to get dressed and put gas in the car and drive on in. We hope to see your students soon. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to take them. Okay, if not, then I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Bill Hord, one of our inestimable librarians. We've worked together for years, and he's wonderful.
Thank you, Deborah. This is Bill Hord. Just let me get set up here a minute to my show for you. Okay, I'm ready to go. I'm Bill Hord. I'm Library Director for the libraries that are in the southwest part of HCC, Missouri City, Stafford, and West Loop. Purpose of my presentation is to introduce the resources and services for students and faculty that we have in the libraries. There will be, I hope, a chance for some questions later. And this PowerPoint will be available in the GoTo Meeting site for you to download to get the information. My contact information is also at the end of the presentation. So if you want to contact me, you can email me or phone me. Just a second. Okay. The library's mission is to serve your teaching and learning needs, yours and your students. To accomplish that mission, we need your help telling us, did we help you? In other words, we want answers to the question, what worked for you in which circumstances? So please keep that in mind and let us know. There'll be contact information for all the librarians indicated in the show where you can find it. The library website. Again, at the end of the session, I'm going to do the PowerPoint, and then at the end, I'll go back live to the library website to point out a few more things, I hope. Okay, the library website is fairly comprehensive. The address is library.hccs.edu. It's linked from the HCC main page. With a link, libraries, right at the top. The purpose is to put as much as we can online, as many of our resources and services as we can online, accessible to you and students. We do have physical libraries. We have 14 of them spread throughout the HCC district. This snapshot of one of the pages of our website shows the location, the list of the libraries with their locations, addresses, phone numbers, and hours. The hours do vary, although 7:30 to 9 is pretty common Monday through Thursday. The hours on Friday and Saturday vary some. At this time, there's only one library that's open on Sunday, although we have some plans to change that in the fairly near future. One of the most important things to talk about is the library barcode. We emphasize this to students, and you should know about it as well, because the library barcode is the password into restricted resources that are subscription and for other reasons are restricted. Every student, when they enroll, is assigned a library barcode, and students can find theirs on the back of their student ID, HCC student ID card if they have one, or in PeopleSoft Student under demographic data. The demographic data link is at the bottom of the main page when students log in to PeopleSoft Student. Those barcodes are valid as long as the student's enrolled at HCC. Faculty are also entitled to a barcode, but yours aren't necessarily assigned automatically. If you have an HCC faculty ID, then your library barcode is on the back of that faculty ID. But it's not automatically activated, unfortunately. So you have a couple of options. If you already have a barcode, you can go into a library to get it activated, or you can use the form that's linked from our website. The link is shown there at the bottom. I'll show you where to find that later. You can also, if you don't have a faculty ID in the library, we can give you, or through the form, we can give you a barcode so that you have access to all of our resources. We have quite a few full-time and part-time librarians working throughout the libraries. Our policy is to have at least one professional librarian on duty in every library whenever it's open. So there's always that kind of help there if you need it. On this page, which is from our website, I'll show it to you later, you can find the librarians as well as their phone numbers and their emails. And so this is where you'd also be able to find my email address. Those librarians provide a pretty wide range of services, all of them that we can, and that are common in academic libraries. services such as reference. As you see on this page, we provide reference services in a variety of ways. A live chat. There's a chat widget on the library's website. You and students can email us questions. They can phone us. You saw with their phone numbers a few minutes ago, and of course come to the library for help. We also provide a service of research consultation. So if a student has a research assignment and needs to plan the research, talk about how to find sources and how to cite sources, they can meet with a librarian for a longer period just to talk through all those issues. And so that's a form of instruction that we provide. We provide instruction in person, of course, and online. An important thing comes up here. If you wanted to schedule your class, an orientation for your class, you could contact one of the libraries or a librarian or one of the library directors. There's a form for that as well on our website. I'll show you where that is, so that you can schedule a session. We can do the session in the library where we have a computer classroom with a computer for every student so that they can do lots of hands-on work, and we can see how well they're understanding where and how to find resources. Or we can come out to your class location to do an orientation there. We also have online tutorials available on our website. One of the best ones, perhaps, or a good one to start, is the one called Begin Research. The link will be in the website. And what's distinctive about this orientation and this little tutorial is that it includes a gradable quiz. The grades for the quizzes are emailed to the student and to you if we get your correct email in there. So that's something that you could keep in mind to use if you can't schedule a librarian to come in person. This is a picture of our library catalog. It includes books, ebooks, and streaming media, all focused on the things that are taught at HCC. All of our books from all of our different locations, we have books at many of our locations, can be searched through this catalog. They can also be requested. So the catalog records for most of our books, or many of our books, include the table of contents. So they're searchable at that level, which helps students find chapters that are useful to them. As I said, any book is requestable from any other campus, to any campus. So if you find a book that's at the other side of town and you want it sent to a campus near you, you can do that. There is a request button once you've done a search and found a book. All of our ebooks, we have about 170,000. We have about 170,000 ebooks in our collections now. They're all searchable in the library catalog as well. Most of them a link away from being able to read them online. We also have streaming media, video, pretty wide range of video that's accessible and related to different courses. That is also a click away usually from being able to read. When I say a click away, I should interpose that if it comes from a database, which most of our ebooks and our streaming media do, when you click on the link to view it, it'll ask you to log in with your name and your library barcode. That's how that library barcode is the password to get you into those restricted resources that are that we've contracted for. Oops. You figure out how to do this? There. We subscribe to about 150 subscription databases, millions of magazine journal articles covering pretty much anything that community college students might want to research. These are very similar to the ones that the schools have because we all benefit from the TechShare program that's statewide, but we've added a good number of databases ourselves, independent subscriptions for community college courses and students. And there are, of course, databases of ebooks and streaming media. The database part of our website is arranged, as you can see, alphabetically A to Z by the title of the database, as well as by subject and format. Subject such as literary criticism, accounting, history, and so forth, and formats such as newspapers, streaming video, and so forth. We try to provide help with students with citations. We haven't found the perfect tool for that, of course. It's hard for students to learn sometimes. We had a very good resource for this that the publisher took down over the summer, and we've tried to make do or find substitutes to cover APA style, MLA style, and Chicago style. And you can find the resources that we recommend on this page in our website. And again, I'll show you how you can find this in just a moment. The librarians have also created some locally developed, like the page you just saw, for example, pages and resources on a variety of things, including academic subjects, workforce subjects, centers of excellence, as well as specialized topics like what is plagiarism, which is one of our most used LibGuides. These are the administrators for the library, including me. I'm Bill Horde. And you can contact any of them if you have questions. You can also contact any of the librarians, as I said before. So I would recommend that you get to know the names of the library faculty in the libraries near you, so you can contact them and call if you have any needs that they can help you with. All right, I'm going to try to switch over now to our website. Oops, if I can do that. So excuse me just a second. Here we go. Okay, we're here at the HCC website. The library's link is at the top. So I click on that. That connects to the library's website. So I just want to give you a brief overview of what you'll find on this page. There is a set of menus at the top. These are copied from the HCC website, so they're very similar. And the next one is some of our menus. Under Search and Find, for example, you find links to our databases, our library catalog, the LibGuides, as well as some other things. I'll talk about Encore in a minute. Under Research and Writing, you find the Begin Research tutorial that I mentioned to you, as well as links to the style guides. Mostly MLA, APA, and Chicago are the ones that we've highlighted, as well as some resources on plagiarism. Under About Us, that's where you find the list of library faculty that I was referring you to, with their phone numbers, email addresses, and links. Well, I thought these were links. These are not links to the campus, but I thought they were. Sorry. You'll also find our locations and hours page, alphabetical list of our locations with phone numbers and hours, as well as some other information. Ask a Librarian is our the link to chat, as well as other ways, reminders of other ways to contact us. If we're on the home page, by the way, you'll see that over on the right, chat is offline. We are expanding the chat hours. Our aim is to have chat available whenever a library is open, so look for that in the future. But it's not available right now. Obviously, chat is offline. And then we have library information for students and for faculty. So, for example, if I go there, you'll find, first of all, library information literacy orientation. If you wanted to request an orientation, you could use the form here, or the forms that are here. Say you want to request one from Alif Hayes, click on their orientation request, select a librarian or choose no preference, etc. Fill out the form, and that will be emailed to the librarians who will get back with you to schedule your orientation. Excuse me a second. Also on this page is where you can find, sorry. Oh, I haven't gone back far enough. Sorry. Also on this page is where you can find a form under Login Now, a form to get your barcode, get your library card, or troubleshoot that if you're having trouble logging in. You can also call us for that, of course. This middle toolbar includes things we've already seen: locations and hours, Ask a Librarian, the Begin Research tutorial, as well as Login Renew. This is a good place to test your barcode. Put in your name, just like it shows, first name, space, last name, and your library barcode. Click Login, and if it logs in, then your barcode is working. If it's not, contact us and we'll try to fix it for you. This other information, there's the for faculty repeated again. I want to say a little about the searches here. The one that's highlighted and foremost is Encore Discovery. It's a discovery tool. So if you want to search a subject like dual credit, for example, this searches our library catalog as well as a number of the databases. Not all of them, but quite a good selection. The results page features books. These are books. This is an ebook, and these are more books. And then the articles, it only shows 3 articles. So if you're interested in articles, there are tools on the left. You can click on articles, and it will show you many articles. You can also click here if you wanted to see where this book is. Check shelf means it's available. This only shows available titles. And you can request that book if you wanted to get it sent from either Northline or Caldwell to Stafford, for example. You could request it, and it would walk you through the steps. To do that, you need your name and your library barcode. The articles link loads 3,900 articles, tells you which ones have full text. This does have a cart feature, so you could put some in your cart. You can also click on the title to connect to the database. And there is the article with full text versions. Most of our databases, like this one, have a set of tools so that when a student finds an article they like, they can click on, for example, the email tool, choose the citation format they're using, put in their email address, a subject if they want to, click send, and the whole article will be sent to their email along with a draft citation. Sometimes, because these are machine generated, there are errors in there, so it's a good idea to warn students about that and ask them to fix it if they notice an error. This is a good way for students to do sort of pre-research to identify a number of articles, and then they can focus on the ones that really best meet their needs. After they've done some sort of search like that. Last thing, briefly, this is our database section I showed you. It's alphabetical, A to Z, as I said. Databases by subject. You see there's the subject categories we've set up. By format, if you wanted streaming media or you only wanted ebooks, you could go there. The key thing here is to notice the icon that you see, this HCC icon, which shows up on most of the databases. That indicates this is a subscription, HCC only. If you're on campus, you can click directly on the link and it will connect you to the database. Or if you're off campus and you click on the link to the database, it will ask you first to log in with your name and your library barcode. And that will validate you as someone associated with HCC, and then you'll be able to go on and do your work here. And I've already showed you what a something about this. I'll just do a search quickly. Same search, dual credit, search, and there's articles. You see it shows 87 with some video and so forth. And when you look at an article, then you get the tools on the right in this database. So that is my presentation. I'm not sure how much time I have for questions, maybe a few minutes. For the automotive technology student, let's see, I see a question. I'm going to try to. Do you have any online sources for automotive technology student? Good question. I like to look.
Mr. Horde?
Yes.
I don't know if I'm cutting in on you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. My name is Homer Swihart. I am going to be teaching dual credit for automotive students off campus. And what we really like to see or have access to is ASC study guides, videos, this type of thing. And I just curious question if you had them, and if you're not sure, I can always go in there and dig around myself and look.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You can email me too, bill.horde@hccs.edu, and that's true for anyone who's listening in. If you have questions later or just want to email me your question, I'd be glad to deal with it that way. And if you want to email me about the automotive, the ASC things, I can look into that. We do appreciate having requests from faculty for things that we should add to our library or our website. So we would appreciate that.
Very good. And I didn't mean to interrupt you if I shouldn't have.
That's all right. We're trying to do questions in chat, but that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I see Curtis Davis asked, does the export feature in the toolbar of the database allow one to export to personal data accounts like Evernote or Box? Not that I know of. Not that I know of. It does allow a variety of kinds of exports, so that's something to look into as well. But I haven't tried it with Evernote. Are there any other questions that you want to ask now? Or again, if you have questions later, please email me or give me a call, and I'll be glad to help you out as well as I can. Thank you.
Okay, just bear with us for a moment while we get set up here. I'd like to thank Mr. Horde for his wonderful presentation.
Drop down a little and let's select the learner PowerPoint. There goes.
Okay, and the little Okay, looks like we're ready to get going here. We're going to spend a few moments talking about tips for
creating an effective learner-centered online course. I'm actually Dorcetta Williams, the manager of the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence, and with me is my colleague Shyla Khan, and she will be watching your questions. So please feel free to type in your questions in the chat, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Before we get started, we want to talk about HCC's strategic plan, which talks about how we want to train HCC is seeking to improve the student experience and training our faculty in the use of teaching and learning strategies, effective use, developing courses based on learner-centered instructional design strategies, and providing faculty with Eagle Online course shells for their instruction, and also training those faculty within Eagle Online. So everything we're going to talk about today is definitely usable within Eagle Online. However, it is generic enough to instill into any learning management system that you might be using for online instruction. When you're creating an online course, the first thing you always want to do is set a sound educational goal, whether that be thinking about what purpose your course has, or what your program outcomes may be if you are an HCC instructor, which all of you are. Looking at your course learning outcomes, and definitely looking at your student learning objectives. You want to also consider your learners' experience that you would like for them to have within your course. Consider your audience. What do your students need? And how do you know that unless you administer a needs assessment, which is based on content as well as personal learning styles of your students? And then moving on, once you have a goal set for your students, you want to build a community. Hang on one second, see if we can make this a little bigger. Just give me 1 second. We need to increase the size of our chat box. Just bear with us for 1 moment, please. Okay. Okay, we'll do our best to answer your questions. It says the presenter screen does not look centered. How does the screen look now? They said it still looks the same. Just bear with us one moment and we will see if we can fix the presentation. Okay. We're going to, they said it's better. We're going to continue with the presentation, and remember, this is being recorded, so it will be posted for your review, and it will also be adjusted. We're going to continue with creating a community within your online course. You need to remember that as an instructor, even though you're not in front of your students, the students need to feel a connection between you and the other participants in the class. So it's best if there's a personal connection with your students. And one way we can do this is by simply taking the time to for you to get to know who your students are and allowing them to learn about you. You could do this by building an introductory forum at the beginning of your course, so the students have the opportunity to get to know their classmates as well as yourself. It's also helpful to include a separate discussion forum that's used as a discussion board that students can access whenever they have questions about assignments, or if they just need to ask a general question, maybe about directions. And that way, that kind of frees you from always having to field the questions because the students end up helping one another. We also want to evaluate the students' abilities to relate to online learning, and that is just being aware of their technology capabilities. And once again, you can learn these sorts of things if the students are discussing in a forum that's not necessarily tied to an assignment. You can also help them understand the critical importance of class participation, timely discussion responses, adherence to project deadlines, and ethical and learning to be a self-starter. All of this can be accomplished by setting forth your policies and procedures at the beginning of the course so students know what to expect. Another way to create community is to provide timely feedback to their questions. Majority of students will email their instructors with their questions, and they should also know when to expect a response from their instructor, whether that's 24 hours, 48 hours. All of this can be set forth at the beginning of the class so that students understand the guidelines. This is helpful in an online environment, but it's extremely helpful, more helpful when you provide forums and blogs and discussion boards. And this also helps encourages your learners to connect with the class and allow them to relate their stories and challenges to each other. We want to remember that in an online class, even though it is a regular class, we want to keep it short and organized. Many times the standard seems to be that moving online will reduce adjustment time for students by approximately 25%. This usually results from analyzing your content and editing what the learner doesn't need to know. I know as teachers you all have that favorite assignment that is cute, it kind of touches on the subject, but it's not necessary for students to grasp the concept. So you just want to streamline that particular type of content and keep it simple and keep your instructions and your narration direct and succinct so that your delivery is also streamlined. Remember to keep your content within an online course very relevant because there are many distractions online. So remember that shorter is better. And as an educator, your first inclination might be to try to teach everything, which leads to e-learning that features a lot of click next to continuing type of instruction. But instead, because you are streamlining this version of your course, you want to make sure that all of the content within the course is linked through websites. So even if the website changes, you don't have to worry about changing the content because there's just a link within your course. And with that, you'll be surprised at how many learners will actually go to the website and access the information and retain more than they would if they were reading it because you typed it within the learning management system. Each section of your course should also have the same structure. For example, if your structure is having them do a required reading, then an activity for that reading, then a journal entry, and then participate in an online discussion, it's helpful if they do that same format in each module or each unit of the course. That way they know what to expect. That way they know where to look for certain information. Also, one other tip is to balance the workload required throughout all of your modules and units because if you have a unit that's very light, then the students kind of expect that from now on as they go through the course. So you want to make sure that the activities are balanced throughout your course and then let each unit build on the previous one. Remember, the students are in school, so there needs to be lots of time for them to practice. One rule of thumb in e-learning is to design meaningful interaction every 5 to 8 screens. Even if these are only questions on the previous topic, make sure to create opportunities for the learner to practice and apply the concepts. Allow learners to engage in short skill development activities after each session and practice their new skills. It is critical that instructors are providing feedback, and then feedback is considered more than post-assignment commentary. When employed correctly, feedback can impact students on a variety of levels. It helps direct what they do with their time and how they feel about their efforts, whether they're motivated, whether their motivation level is appropriate, and whether they are meeting your expectations. Because feedback serves so many purposes in an online classroom, it is important for instructors to consider how feedback is provided, when it is offered, and how focused or targeted, and what is considered in the feedback. So we're going to focus on the 3 key elements for just a second because feedback is extremely important due to the fact that the students don't see you face to face. So when you're considering feedback, you must make sure your feedback is timely in order to be effective. This means that it's consistent, immediate, ongoing, incremental, and formative. Feedback must target directly what you want the learners to know and the specific task at hand. And it should address efforts and whether the student appropriately processed the task. Targeted feedback does not have to be direct communication between the instructor and one student. It can be peer-based, individual, or group. And instructors need to consider the nature of their feedback. It should be corrective and specifically identify where, if at all, students veered off course. It should be concrete and specific so students understand what portion of the task they completed incorrectly and which course material they failed to understand. The feedback should reference the assignment criteria so it appears founded in and appropriate, and it should be useful and actionable. And instructors should give suggestions on how to readdress the problems that students are having and make improvements on the next assignments. So when used properly, feedback is more of a tool rather than a corrective action. And one thing that I found most effective is that when you are offering criticism, students receive it and internalize it better when they have positive feedback and they're introduced to positive feedback first. And then a few critiques and then more positive feedback. It kind of boosts their confidence and it helps them, it motivates them to complete uh, them to complete their next assignments more appropriately. Okay, so we're going to move on to talking about discussions and collaborative exercises. And it was just brought to my attention that you do see your students face to face, but also if you have them working on activities in the LMS and the online environment, it's also helpful if they see the written feedback, because of course you have students who process information differently. Okay, and with regard to discussions and online exercises, this is one of the most overlooked facets of e-learning. Reflection is how learners learn best, thinking about what they want to write. And instructors kind of gloss over discussions because they feel like the discussion will pretty much push itself. However, there has to be a very good crafting question in the discussion board. And you want to be careful that when you're writing your questions within the discussion board, that you're not answering your question within the way you write it. And one thing that I know instructors like to do is they like to jump in and kind of correct students or kind of guide the conversation that's going on in discussion boards. But it is also helpful for the students when the instructors refrain from speaking on every response, and that leaves space for the students to be able to talk to one another within the discussion board. So it's okay if you don't have discussion posts right away within your forum. The students will eventually respond to one another. And it also kind of takes one or two discussions before they realize that, hey, I need to be in here talking. You can also have your learning community come up with answers after they've had time to reflect on their responses. And again, we want to make sure that we withhold feedback and corrective critiques within the discussion forums, because then students are going to just start regurgitating what you're saying rather than coming up with their own thoughts. Encourage students to build on one another's thinking and keep them on topic by redirecting the discussion or posting a new, more focused question. And this is one of the things that I love within an online class environment, is using multimedia, because we have students who are so intertwined with technology. Multimedia kind of grabs their attention. We're talking about video clips, audio clips, PowerPoints. They kind of see a lot, but there are other methods of presentation such as Prezis out there that students like interacting and playing with. They're wonderful teaching tools. Students love looking at them. They add color and variety to your LMS. So by all means, please add them to the online environment. But it can also be a frustrating point because it can cause a distraction. So with that, considering that, we want to make sure you select something that's commonly used in a commonly available platform, so that there are no technology issues when students begin to access the information. We want to make sure that students understand that sometimes their computers might need to be updated, so you have to make the links to the free downloads available, and inform the students at the beginning of the course that they may need to download or update their software. And then the last thing you want to consider with multimedia is to consider selecting videos that have transcripts to accommodate your students who may have an ADA need. Okay, we're almost at the end. Before we leave, we want to make sure that when we are using media, we want to consider avoid copyright violations, although that none of publications in an electronic medium don't necessarily require express notice for use within a classroom, because the fair use policy suggests that students, faculty, and staff may incorporate others' work into multimedia or display and perform the work in connection or creation with the class assignment, curriculum materials, remote instruction, examinations, student portfolios, and professional symposia. However, we want to be conservative when we are using this particular copyright rule, and use only small amounts of others' work, and don't make unnecessary copies of the multimedia work. We have a few final things to consider, and then we'll be open for questions. Even though we are working in an online environment and it tends to be mostly visual, we want to make sure that we accommodate different learning styles, because we know that we have the audio learners, the tactile learners, as well as the visual learners. So we want to give students every opportunity to grasp the information with being able to read it, being able to work with it, and also listen to it. So even with PowerPoint presentations, you might want to consider including a voiceover narration for those students who learn best using their ears. One method that's becoming more popular as education evolves is scenario-based learning. That means actually creating a story within the online environment and using the real-world examples so that the students can apply the knowledge that they have gained within your classroom to real-world situations. All right, and our final comment would be to make all of your activities within your environment meaningful. Because we are creating a learning community, which is a group learning experience within an online environment, we want to make sure that all of the activities or tasks are assessed, that the students know that there is a purpose for what they're learning within the classroom, whether it's in a journal entry, a discussion post, or a simple, quick 2 or 3 question multiple choice test. We want to make sure that we assess all activities or tasks in some manner and know when enough is enough. The most difficult aspects in doing a course is knowing how much time the students are going to spend within the course. So one tip might be to do all the activities yourself and then double it. We don't want to overwhelm our students. We just want to make sure they understand the content. And that's it for me. If you have any more questions or if you want to learn more about the concepts that I just described within this presentation, you can visit our website at what you see on the screen, and it has some helpful tips for you there, and you can explore. There's all kinds of instructional resources on our virtual faculty lounge. And I think we have a few minutes for questions. Did we have any questions? Oh, I can't say that. It says, how can a dual credit faculty assess training to Eagle Online? That's a very good question. On your screen, you see the website, the hccs.edu/VFL. There is Eagle Online training within our virtual faculty lounge. It is very basic Eagle Online training, but it will get you started with what you need. And then there's also a way to contact us if you need more in-depth help with building your course. And all of that is available through the virtual faculty lounge, and I can get out of here and show you where it is in just a few minutes. Okay, can you address the questions that were sent at the beginning of the session? Okay, Professor Arsenault, I'm not sure, I'll scroll back. Blended learning or available mobile applications. Okay, there's a question regarding blended learning and available mobile applications. Okay, I definitely support blended learning because once again, it puts technology within the students' hands in a face-to-face format. With blended learning, you can actually have all of your content online so the students have access to that information once they leave your classroom, because we know students need to have the information repeated over and over and over. So yes, I would encourage using an online format to duplicate or give additional practice to the content within your course to the students once they leave you, and that way they will retain it a little bit better. Okay, and then I think the questions at the beginning of the session were related to Ask Online, and I don't have answers to those, but I'm sure that they will be posted tomorrow within the GoTo Meeting website. And is there another question? Great session. It says great session. I got a lot of that. Okay, and before we leave, I will, don't know which one. Yeah, okay. There. Just one moment. Okay, here we are. This is our virtual faculty lounge. Hang on one second, I'm going to get there. hccs.edu/virtual faculty lounge. Okay, this site is open to the public, accessible to all HCC instructors. And within this site, our virtual faculty lounge, this is our curriculum support department at HCC. Here is where you can find information about the concepts that I just described to you related to the online environment. And if you want to access information regarding Eagle Online, you'll go to the Virtual Faculty Lounge under the Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence. You're going to click Curriculum Development Support Services. And it is actually our course that's called TL 1600 Eagle Online 2. And it's an entire online training course for Eagle Online. And if there are no more questions, I will give you back to
We want to thank you all so much for joining us. I know that there were some questions that we may not have answered. We will definitely make sure that we have answers to those posted. So therefore, we're able to address those with you, specifically the question with regards to Ask Online earlier. So that being said, again, this session is being recorded. We will have it available for everyone to see. We thank you for joining us, and please contact us if you have any further questions. I'm going to provide my email address and also that of Mr. Scott Gottlieb's as well. And with regards to accessing the recording later, we will send out a link to you all, so therefore you all will be able to go online and access it at your leisure. Okay. All right, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and conclude our session. And again, I want to thank you all again for joining us.